Historically, Lammas or Lughnasadh is the celebration of the first harvest, or games or festivals, which occur just before the first harvest. It was an opportunity for people in a rural setting to meet with others from the surrounding countryside, often many miles away, in order to make trade deals, marriages, and also enjoy games of competition. Imagine if your world was your farm or village all year round, and this was your only chance to see people outside that area. It would be pretty important. Lughnasadh, or Gwyl Awst as it's known in the Welsh tradition, is often termed the first harvest in modern paganism. However, the hay meadows would have already been cut for fodder in late June and early July, and the first harvest would technically have been for animal consumption. But however, this is the time just before the first agricultural harvest for humans. It's a time to celebrate while the wheat and barley was ripening in the fields. It can also be a celebration just after the fields have been harvested, though it may be weeks into August before the full reaping of the first harvest is completed in your particular region. You could simply celebrate the reaping of the fields closest to you if you wish to narrow it down to a particular point and place in time. Lughnasadh was said to have been celebrated for weeks on end, which might be due in part to the waiting game for the crops to be ready. Berries and other wild fruits are now available, and this might also be a part of the first harvest. It was a time of celebration, of skills and tests, of daring feats, and just plain showing off, knowing that the hard work of reaping lay ahead. Lughnasadh derives from the term the Assembly of Lugh in Ireland. Lugh was one of the chief gods of the Tuatha De Danann. He was known as the Many-Skilled, and this is perhaps why there were previously many feats and contests held at this festival. However, the real focus for this festival lay with Lugh's foster mother, Tailtiu, who died clearing a vast tract of land, which is related to Meath in Ireland, and who asked Lugh to hold a festival each year in her honour, hence the Assembly of Lugh, or Lughnasadh. If this festival was upheld each and every year, it was said that there would be corn and milk in every house, peace and fair weather for the feast. The other name for this festival is Lammas, and is an amalgamation of the Saxon term Hlofmas, or Loafmas, now known as Lammas. The taking in of the first crops is something that should be celebrated in any nature-based tradition. Whether you live in an urban setting or not, what happens to the harvest in or near where you live, or in your own country on a wider scale, does affect you, even if you are in the heart of a downtown metropolis. If the wheat harvest is bad, you will find that bread and other wheat-based products go up. Same for any crop, whether that is apples, onions, potatoes, carrots, you get the idea. Not only does this affect you financially, but it can also affect you physically. If you're not supporting organic and locally produced crops as much as possible within your capability, then you are effectively saying that nature doesn't matter and how we get our food is more important than the overall effect on the environment itself. And this sort of thinking has led to genetically modified food, the long-term consumption of which we'll only begin to notice in the coming years. The vast industry of monocultural crops requires much more pesticides and fungicides than a diverse organic crop, as permaculture has shown time and time again. There is strength in diversity and great weakness in monocultures, and this applies not only to agriculture but to all culture. Everything is connected. Everything is related. To think that you are separate from something is mere illusion. Just because you might not live in a rural setting doesn't mean that what happens there has no effect on your life. The air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat, and how we treat our environment all affects us each and every second of each and every day. So let's remember this when it comes to Lammas, Lughnasadh. Let us remember the interconnectedness of all things and the sacredness of all things. Let us remember how important this time was for our ancestors and how important it is still today wherever we live. It's not an abstract concept, especially if we follow a nature-based tradition. It is a real, living, breathing, contributing part of our world and should be one of the most important festivals in the wheel of the year.